Awesome. Hey everyone, how are we doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. Sorry for the last minute notice last week on no team meeting. Tell you a little bit about my adventures and why I wasn't here. I had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. as part of the Government Affairs Committee with my local Chamber of Commerce. It's something we do an annual DC fly-in, and it really gives us as a chamber the opportunity to get in front of our local, our state and federal representatives. So we got to meet with our two state senators from the state of Georgia, or one of them. The other one was out with a new baby. We got to meet with his chief of staff, and we got to meet with our local House of Representatives rep here in Georgia in our community. So had a great trip. As part of that, I get to interact with other officials. So we had the sheriff go with us. We had the director of our regional airport here go with us. We had the director of our economic development organization go, and several other leaders from our utility companies and other board members from our Chamber of Commerce. So it was a great opportunity for me to network and get to know these folks a little bit better, create relationships. One of the exciting things that I got to do was one of our board members owns his own plane. He owns a six-seater uh, twin turbo plane that flies at 350 miles an hour. So I got to fly out of my local airport here in my home community for the first time ever. Flew up to DC. We got to go on Monday. We got to tour the Secret Service training facility. On Tuesday, we went to the FBI, um, do the FBI experience there and go through all of the history. We got to see all of the different cars that the president has ridden in from way back in time. Got to be a part of the driving course there. I haven't posted pictures on my Facebook page, but I'm going to be doing that. I know some of the folks that went with us did that already, posting pictures from our experience. And then Wednesday, we were at the Capitol. We had great food, great networking opportunities, just a lot of fun. But in the middle of all that, I didn't have great access and time down to be communicating and sending out the email. So back to why I wasn't here Monday, that was the reason why. So I apologize for the last minute notice, but here we are this week. So folks, if this is the first time that you've joined us on our Monday night Zooms, I'm Ellen Winn. I'm your senior team leader. Why is that? Well, all of you are somewhere in my organization, whether I personally sponsored you, like Harlequin, who's on here. Normally, Harlequin is my co-host each week. She's had a bad headache here for 2 or 3 days, and I didn't want her to have to feel the pressure to talk when she's not feeling like being sociable. If you've ever dealt with headaches, that's not a good place to be. So letting Harlequin let people in here and just sit back and watch the show tonight. So we do these on every Monday, giving you guys the opportunity to ask questions, anything that's going on with your DAC business. Back to why I'm your senior team leader. Well, I kind of got this group started. I signed up with DAC in June of 2018, so I just celebrated my 7-year anniversary here, and I've recruited over 900 agents personally. Harlequin is one of those. I see some others on here that are direct to me. Also, those folks that I recruited a few who recruited a few who recruited a few, and all in time, I've got tens of thousands of agents in my organization. Now, not nearly all of those are active. And in fact, a very small percentage of those agents that have signed up are actually active. Why is that? Well, people get started, they get excited, and then they realize they got to go to work and maybe you'll quit, or they'll reach out to a couple of people, and if somebody doesn't jump on board immediately as an agent, or they don't jump on board and take the funding immediately, they're going, well, this doesn't work. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you from my personal experience where I've earned 6 figures with this company, and I've helped a lot of business owners either get funding, payment processing, healthcare, DAC Protect, or identity theft protection product, and recruited a lot of agents. And I've seen a lot of agents on my team have success as well. So it's proven that DAC works and our system works. It's just a matter of each of you as individuals to whether you're going to be willing to apply what we teach and actually have enough conversations and stick and stay with DAC long enough to have success. Because when you start having success and you have a team where you've recruited a few agents and they start having success, it's like that train rolling down the tracks. You cannot stop it because that momentum gets started. So I encourage you to be building a team. In fact, that's one of the things that we always talk about on Monday nights is the team building aspect of it. I'm not going to go through our funding product. I'm not going to go through any of the products because we've got so much training material out there. David Rutz, our company founder, does a great job of covering the details on that. Then we have Monday leadership call. We have a Tuesday team building call. Wednesday, we have a funding updates and get your questions answered. Thursday, if you've not been noticing, are no longer, this week will be the first week we've not done our payment processing Zoom. That's something that, again, we have all the videos and all the tools and presentations on how to do it. So we're not going to be doing that on Thursdays, but then Friday we have an agent update. So there's multiple opportunities for you guys to come on, but most of those are during the day. And many of you are probably working a full-time job or part-time job, and those hours just don't work. So that's why we jump on here at night. I want to get us kicked into screen share mode and go through our top recruiters and recognize you folks that have been doing that. And then I'll open up and see if anybody's got any questions. So give me a second to do share screen here. All right, there it is. Yeah, so I go through our top recruiters because really recruiting is how DAC grows. There's no advertising money out there for TV ads or television ads or newspaper or any of that. DAC's model is word of mouth marketing. It's the oldest model in the world, started back in the Bible with Jesus going out and recruiting his disciples, right? And we're kind of the disciples for DAC, where we're out here talking about our services and talking about the opportunity. And that's how we get paid. We get paid that compensation that otherwise would be spent on advertising. But here's the thing. If DAC did go down that traditional advertising path, we would be just like all the other funding companies out there, like on DAC and Rapid Finance, these big lending companies that are spending billions of dollars on advertising each and every year. Our unique proposition in the marketplace is our relationship. So we're relationship marketers where we have contacts, we have our own circle of influence where people know us and hopefully like and trust us. And that's where when you can introduce them to what it is that we're doing, then you've got a unique proposition versus someone just seeing an ad on TV or reading something in the newspaper. So DAC, we're all about helping business owners get funding, and in return, you can earn a significant income for doing so. So you get paid to lead a team if you want to, or you can just be here on your own as an independent broker. But you and your team, if you decide to build a team, it can be a money-making machine. You help a business owner get $80,000, you're going to earn about $3,200. The typical commission is about 4% of what the funding is. If you have a frontline agent, someone that you introduce to DAC, and they do that, they introduce someone who gets 80,000, that frontline agent is going to make 3,200. You, as their enroller, would make a matching commission of 320 on the low side, that instant 10% match, all the way up to a 50% match of 1,600. So if that's the case and you can get paid without having to bring in the business owners yourself, now you want to get business owners yourself and funding and all the services that we market, but it doesn't mean that every dollar that you make has to come from your own work. how many agents would you like to have? 10 frontline agents, 50 agents? You do the math. It multiplies and it adds up quickly. So we've got a few folks that really understand that model of multiplication, and that goes into our top recruiters for the week of 6/16 through 22, which is last week when I wasn't able to be here. Ben Randalls was in first place with 7 new agents. Congratulations again to Ben. I came in second place with 6 new agent recruits. And in third place, we had Pamela Warnock with 2 new agent recruits. To be on the top recruiter board, you had to have 2 or more agents. Many of you had 1 agent recruit. Let's do this past week, the 23rd through the 29th. The list was a little bit longer. We had WCO Business Solutions. That is Katie Sprinkle. Congratulations, Katie, with 4 new agent recruits. Demetrius Laster came in second place with 3 new recruits. Congratulations, Demetrius. And in third, we had a 4-way tie with Ben Randalls, Clarence Noble, DAC Funding, which is Pam Warnock again, and Michael Dew, each with 2 new agent recruits. So congratulations to all of you that made it on the leaderboard. If you had 1 recruit, congratulations. You just didn't make your name in lights here on the leaderboard. If you didn't have any recruits or any new customers, but you've been talking to people, congratulations to you too. It's just a matter of time before you're going to see the success that it takes to be successful. Okay. So again, as you're here with DAC, you can be a solo agent, you can be a team builder, or you can be a market leader. I'm a market leader. That's why I'm your senior team leader. I started duplicating and I had teams duplicate, but I didn't have to step into that role of being a market leader. I did that by choice. Just because I have a big team doesn't make me a market leader. I'm a market leader because I stepped into that support role. Each of you are on my email list. I make myself available to answer calls for all of my team. And that's where I've stepped into that market leader role. But you can start out as a team builder. And if you have a team builder join your organization, they can continue on. And you don't have to be that one that is supporting the whole organization. So you pick whichever role fits for you, and you decide how you want your DAC business to look. Now, I went through the upcoming meetings for the week for the daytime, but don't forget on Tuesday and Thursday nights, we have live recruiting Zooms where you can invite your guest to come in and see a live business opportunity overview presented by one of our leaders. On Tuesday, we normally have David, but I believe that McGuire is doing the meeting tomorrow, and then on Thursday we have Nick Duhame doing the business presentation there. Both those are at 7:30 Eastern time, Tuesday and Thursday at daczoom.com. Okay, Harlequin, I know you weren't going to speak, but if I've missed anything, please feel free to chime in and let me know. We always want to encourage everyone to be logging into your back office to make sure you're not missing any renewals. We are going to be having our learning management system going live here in the very near future. David talked about today how he's getting ready to go to some beta testers. I volunteered, and I know Harlequin probably volunteered to do that, and a few others that were on our call to be a part of that mandatory training system. I look forward to that coming out. We'll keep you posted on updates with that. We're rolling into a new month. Tomorrow is the 1st. So if you're wanting to make sure that you have a residual commission check, you need to make sure that you have residual points in your back office. Personal client points, right? If you've got at least 50, then you're going to get a commission check on your team. If you have 200 or more, you're qualified to earn on additional levels, or actually 100 and 150 and then 200, you're qualified to earn on additional levels. So be busy, and stay on top of your numbers. Okay, guys, that's all I really had to cover. Anybody have any questions? I see Ray's got a hand up. I'm going to go to Ray and ask you to unmute. How are you doing tonight, Ray?
Hey, Ellen, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yeah, hold on for a second. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So I have three questions. The first question is, I know we do Canada. So do you know what parts of Canada that we um, DAC works with?
I
I
have
know.
no idea other than Canada. So I'm assuming all provinces have some lender in that space.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. My second question is, I know that California, New York, and Oregon, as far as Giggle funding concerned, that they're not doing Giggle in those states. So as a result of that, with those three states, those three states are still open to like the core and flex
Like
the
straight
fundings
funding?
for.
Yeah, absolutely. All states are open to funding from
Mhm.
DAC. It's just a matter of which funding product they fit into as to whether they're going to be eligible or not.
Okay. And I just was just wondering, I know McGuire mentioned about um, HubSpot. Is anybody using HubSpot? Anybody had any experience using that?
Yeah, I did. In fact, we as a company, DAC was using HubSpot for a while. A few years ago, David had signed on with HubSpot, had done a contract with them, was actually going to offer that to the DAC agent teams to use as a free tool. And then we found, or I found personally, that there was some mix up behind the scenes with DAC and the programming in HubSpot. So it worked great for individuals, but when we came in as a company, there were some privacy issues with those of us that were under the DAC umbrella, and David put a stop to that. HubSpot was unable to correct that, and we had to go away from HubSpot. Again, that was it's fine on an individual basis, but since all of the agents, there were hundreds or thousands of us under the DAC corporate HubSpot account, there was a privacy issue between agents being able to see what was sent to someone else based on how things were tagged. So we had to get away from that. But you, as an individual, you should be fine using it. HubSpot has a free account. It is a good system, and I would encourage you to use it if you don't have another type of CRM that you're using.
Okay, that's pretty much all I had. I just want to know if
Yeah.
anybody's own personal experience using it. So okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you for your comments, as usual. I appreciate that.
You're
All right,
welcome.
anybody else before we wrap up? I'm gonna lower raise hand.
Ellen, there's a question from Billy Dennis. Is a broker the same as a business agent?
It is. It is. We've just gone through a rebranding as far as um, what we call our independent agents or brokers. We started out as brokers when I first got started with DAC in 2018, and somewhere along the line, they changed the title to independent agent, independent associate. We've gone back and forth, but we have found, and the reason for changing it to broker is that we have found that broker resonates more with B2B, business to business professionals, folks that are already marketing in the B2B space. If you talk to them about being a broker versus being an agent, the broker it resonates more as a professional opportunity. So therefore, they've updated that and calling us brokers now, which is great because
And one other
really it's
thing oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
You
if you
finished.
think about it, we are more of a broker, even though we're not doing it ourselves. A broker represents whether you be talking about funding or whether you be talking about insurance. Brokers represent the client, and brokers look for the best solution for the client. I'm an insurance broker, I'm not an insurance agent. An insurance agent would typically work for a particular provider, but I'm a broker. I work for multiple providers. Therefore, I'm looking for the best solution for my customer. Same thing with DAC. We're a broker. We work with multiple lenders. and we're always looking out for the client's best interest, and that's how we function as a brokerage house rather than just an agency.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
before you
go
go
ahead,
to the
Mark,
next
and finish your
person,
thought.
yeah, for Ray, if you go to the quick reference sheets, there is a special quick reference sheet for Canadian funding.
Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay. All right. I've got Sherry with a hand up. Unmute. Oh, you're unmuted. Hey there. How are you tonight?
Very good.
I can barely hear you. Hang on just a second. Let me see if it's on my end.
You speaking softly. So let me see. Can you hear me better? Hold on. Can you hear me
Barely.
better now? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Oh, that's my headset, as usual. Regarding the question from Ray, I recently signed up with HubSpot a few days ago, and they do not take your sub. You have to sign up as an agent, like DAC agent. That's what I did, because you cannot put your personal URL with your ID number. They do not accept it. So I had to sign up as this David Allen Capital agent or rep.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, and it's limited. The free one is limited. I think
It
there's
is.
there's a $15 a month one, and you get a little bit more. So you have to see what, it depends on what you
Yeah, they're like so many other companies that have gone to the premium model. They give you a little insight into what they offer, but all the real bells and whistles that most people want access to are under their paid program. But it's a great way to get started and get familiar with the basics of it, and
right.
then
That's
see if that's going to be of value to you. But thank you for sharing that you had to come in with your DAC link. I'm sure if I could sign up, because I have multiple businesses, I could probably go in and sign up with one of my other businesses and be eligible, but I'll have to check into that. That's interesting.
sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate the comment. Good to hear from you. And I have Bishop Green.
Hello, Ellen. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing
I love that
good, doing
voice.
good. Just it's good to hear your voice too, Precious. Yeah, I came on the late end of it. I was taking the wife to work and we were talking, but I had a question for you. I'm kind of talking to business owners that have gas stations and restaurants and such, and I wanted to. The question I have is this: is that some of them have machines that I know that are totally outdated for for the transactions for the ATM, for the debit or credit. But I wanted to know, do we have in that space? Are we able to see what it looks like as agents or brokers? Because I need to know if I'm offering them something they already have, or is there a different model? I was just kind of curious. How do we go about being able to see so that way I'm not trying to offer them something that they already have?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and in some cases, it's going to be a similar model to what they already have, but maybe an updated version of it if it's older. In many cases, they may be able to just enhance their whole system. But the way that you want to approach that is let folks know that, hey, I'm not the expert, but if you're open to getting a quote where we can probably significantly lower your cost, I'd love to connect you with one of our experts. That way you're never having to know what equipment, because we actually have 3 different payment processor providers now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not dealing with just Hugh. Hugh is dealing with some of the harder to connect industry types. We have someone, if you're doing less than 10,000 a month, we have one that's 10,000 and above, that's doing the higher dollar amount. So it really depends on how they answer the questions on the application as to which one of the processors they're going to be sent to. And it, just like with our funding platform, that funding application is intuitive, so is the payment processing. application. So, you know, you don't have to tell them who they're going to go to. Just say, hey, I've got an expert team. This is all they do. They'll know the best equipment for your solution, and let them be the one to tell you. They probably know of some stuff that I wouldn't even have access to. But position them as the experts. You're the connector.
Okay. Yeah, got it. And thank you so much for answering my question.
Yeah, you bet. And if you haven't gone through our recent payment processing training in the Agent Resource Center, you might want to go through that. David recently did, on one of those Thursday trainings, he recently went through some great scripts on what to say in the payment processing scenario there. So good stuff.
Well, I will definitely do that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Again, good to hear from you. And I see
You
Harlequin was,
too as well.
thank you. I see Harlequin was talking about, oh, the point on the account, gosh, what's the name of the company that you asked about? HubSpot. I couldn't even think of it. On the HubSpot, she was saying that she had to sign up as part of a company rather than an individual. The free version is also limited in what it offers. So yeah, it was simply asking about HubSpot, and Ray had asked about HubSpot, and then Sherry had made a point of her recent having signed up.
Why did he need immunity? You know what?
Say that again.
Nothing. No, yeah,
Oh.
that's what it was.
Yeah, can I just say something? What happened? You put your name and then they ask you for the company, what company you're with. You cannot put, they wanted the URL. You cannot put the davidallencapital.com/ your ID number. You have to put David Allen Capital. And then there's another part where you have to put, you know, that you're David Allen Capital representative, agent, broker, whichever one you use. But you cannot use your what do you call it, the sub URL? Is
Yeah,
that what
it's
you
a
call it?
subdomain.
Yeah,
Mhm.
a subdomain. Yeah, you cannot use a subdomain.
Now, I would be curious to know if you're using a domain name, if it would accept a domain name for your website, like dacfundingoptions.com goes to my DAC funding page. I wonder if I could get
Right.
away with dacfundingoptions.com as my website.
I'm not sure about that because if it's going to send you to another website, I'm not sure how that works. But you
Yeah.
do get a consultation with someone. They're going to contact you, and then you go on a Zoom with them, and they're going to answer all your questions.
Awesome.
Yeah, the
That's
guy I
the
spoke to
best
was
answer.
was Zach. Zach was his name. So
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All
okay.
right. Thank you for clarifying that for our chat. And David. Okay, anybody else before we wrap up? If not, tomorrow, team training at 11:30 tomorrow night, BizOp, and then again on Thursday night, that BizOp presentation. And then Friday is 4th of July. So I hope all of you guys have a safe and wonderful holiday celebrating our country's birth, and just looking back at all the history that created the freedoms that we share as Americans. So have a blessed evening, everyone, and I'll see you on the next Zoom. Take care. Have a good night.